Hey guys, it's Matt from TDM Style here, back with another review for you. Now you guys have been asking for this, so today I'm going to be taking a look at Ocean Clay by shehvoo and Dre Drexler. Now, I've been doing these product reviews for quite a while now, and as more and more of these kind of YouTube content creator people are coming out with their own product lines, I'm tending to be a little bit more skeptical of them at first glance before I actually try them. And now this one in particular has a wealth of extremely positive reviews. I mean, I've watched several videos and everybody seems to love it. There aren't any negative reviews that I've found so far. So, let's dive right into it and see how it measures up. So taking a look at the packaging first, we can see that it does come in this kind of classic men's hair product looking plastic jar with an aluminum lid. Now, the website says 2.4 ounces, but my jar here says 2 ounces or 56 grams, which equates to 2 ounces. So I think possibly maybe they've increased the size a little bit recently. That aside, if we just take a look at the labeling, the jar is this kind of clear plastic so you can see the product through it. On the front here, we've got the Ocean Clay brand name, Firm Hold Natural Shine by Dre Drexler. We've got this little green leaf that just says that it's made without any sulfates or parabens, so that's always nice. And as we continue around, we have organic ingredients for healthier looking hair, Brazilian seawater to supply essential minerals, and ProDo 500 amino acid technology to strengthen, soften, repair, and color protect hair. Then around the back we have the directions and ingredients. All right, moving on to the smell. And like everyone else, I really do quite enjoy the scent of this. It's basically pineapple, but I've had some other kind of pineapple scented products that smelled really artificial, and that's not really the case here. It's nice and light. It smells basically like fresh pineapple, and it doesn't really stick around much once you've got it worked into the hair, but as you're working with it, I do think it is a nice scent. All right, moving next onto the ingredients. So if we take a look at the list, the first spot is paraffinum liquidum, so essentially liquid wax. So that's important to note, this is not a water-based clay. This is wax-based. Next we have beeswax, followed by bentonite clay. Then we've got some castor oil, microcrystalline wax, and then kaolin clay there. Following that, we do have a bit of water in there, and what I find really interesting is we have some diatomaceous earth. Now, that is essentially very fine grains of sand that work well to remove excess oils from your hair and to give it a kind of slightly gritty, kind of beachy texture. So some other products that use diatomaceous earth are like Hansafuko's quicksand. Now, that's in a realm all of its own because I feel like that's basically a jar of diatomaceous earth where it's not like the main ingredient, so you don't have to worry about it tangling and drying out your hair here. What this really actually reminds me of is the Alterna hair concrete that I used to love, which is no longer made. It was a very similar kind of waxy clay type product that did have some diatomaceous earth in there. And thinking about it now, they do have kind of a similar styling result. So if any of you have used that, this is kind of similar. Then after that in the list we have fragrance, vegetable oil, then there's that seawater in there, and then we've got a lot of goodies for your hair like jojoba esters, a number of different amino acids, and oils like avocado oil, sunflower seed oil, argan oil, and so on. Now if you actually look at the description of this on their website, it does mention in there that they wanted to create a styling product that's not only used for styling, but also something that could act as a hair mask. So on paper, with all these ingredients, it seems like it could possibly do that. So with that in mind, let's move into texture and application, followed by performance, so we can see how this thing actually works. Scooping it out of the jar, you will find that it is very smooth, and while it is a little bit firm, it is pretty soft. The texture of the scoop itself reminds me kind of the Baxter of California clay pomade, but a little bit softer actually. Breaking it down is very easy. It is pretty smooth. It does take a little bit of work to warm up all those waxes in there, and it does feel like a wax when you've got it into your hands. But with that in mind, it does apply to the hair very easily. I've found very little issues with tug and pull. The occasions that I do find it to pull a little bit is if I've washed my hair at night gone to bed and then gotten up in the morning and applied this to like bone dry hair, it does have a little bit of tug and pull at that point, but if you apply it straight after blow drying, I don't seem to have that issue. All right, now moving on to performance, which is probably the category that most of you are interested in. So how does this actually work and how does it hold up throughout the day? So as I mentioned, it does apply to the hair very easily, and as far as the texture that it provides your hair, I think it's quite nice. It's essentially what you would expect from a clay type product. Now with that in mind, and this being a wax-based product, what I've noticed, at least for my own hair type, is that if I use too much of this, my hair tends to really go to strands and have a lot of separation, which is not a look that I'm a particular fan of. But again, I don't find that to be an issue as long as I don't use like a massive scoop. Now for hold and finish, they are calling this a firm hold natural finish product. Now, is it a firm hold for me? Not quite. For my particular hair type, which is thick and fairly coarse, and my current hair length, which is, you know, down to about the tip of my nose, so probably somewhere around 6 inches, I find it to be more of a medium hold for me. I have noticed that I can lock in the style and create a bit more of a firm hold if, once I've applied it, I then hit my hair with a blast of cold air from the hairdryer for about a minute or so. That will kind of set that wax which you've melted in your hands, so that'll kind of firm that up a little bit. And then if I really want my hair not to move at all throughout the day, I just need to finish it with a hairspray, and then it kind of becomes a firm hold. Though, with that in mind, I do think if you have shorter hair, I mean, if your hair is like maybe 3 to 4 inches and you're like rocking that forward quiff or something, I think that this would be a firm hold for you. And as far as the finish, I think calling it a natural finish is pretty accurate. It's definitely not as matte as other products, so you are going to have a little bit of a shine here, but for me, it does look like a nice natural shine. It doesn't look overly greasy or anything like that, as long as you don't use like way too much. Now, in terms of washing this out, it is a wax-based clay. It's not water-based, so it's not going to come out with just water. You are going to need a shampoo to get it totally out of your hair. All right, moving on to price, and this is coming in at $18.50 US, and as I mentioned, the website does say 2.4 ounces, where my jar is 2, but either way, I think for that 2 to 2.4 ounce range, $18.50 is basically right on the money for what you should expect to pay for a salon quality product. In terms of shipping, if you're inside the US, they're going with just a standard first class mail. So for me, it was about $2.70 something cents. I have heard, like if you watch Rob and James' review of this, that the international shipping can be quite pricey, like $12 to $13 or so. So if you are international, that may not be worth it for you for that shipping cost, but if you're inside the US, it's definitely very affordable. All right, so moving on to my overall thoughts. Shehvoo Ocean Clay. I have been very pleasantly surprised. I do actually quite like this product. I would actually call this a very kind of user-friendly clay in that it's easy to scoop out, it's easy to break down, it's easy to get it into your hair and get the shape that you want, and it gives you the type of texture and finish that you would expect. As I mentioned, I don't think it's quite a firm hold, at least for someone with a hair length and type similar to mine, but not a massive concern for me. I like the smell, the packaging is okay, the price seems to be about right for the quality. Now the only thing that they talked about this being kind of a hair mask, and for me, I don't think that. For me, it's a nice hairstyling product, but after I've worn it and washed it out, my hair doesn't feel to me like I've been wearing a hair mask. When I think of washing out a hair mask, I think of something that's just really creamy, kind of like a conditioner, and then when you wash it out, your hair feels like amazingly soft and silky, and I don't really get that with this. I mean, it's certainly not bad. It washes out and my hair just kind of feels back to normal. So I don't really consider it being a hair mask type of hybrid product, but with that being said, I do think that it is a solid clay. So that wraps things up for this review, guys. I hope that you enjoyed it and found it helpful. As I mentioned in my fall favorites video, I do also have the activating oil cleanser by Shehvoo that I've been testing, so expect a review coming up for that very soon. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please do so to keep up with all that upcoming content, and as always, thanks so much for coming by and watching, and we'll see you at the next one.